Don't get me wrong, I love bullet journaling, but we need to talk. As much as I like bullet journaling, there are some key things that I distinctly dislike about it. So that is what we are looking at today. The first thing I hate about bullet journaling is how it feeds my perfectionism. Although perfectionism can be a very helpful tool when used in a way that is constructive, so using it to make your work as good as it can be, oftentimes perfectionism can be kind of crippling. So the constant re-editing and re-editing of something, like for instance the number of times that I filmed the intro for this video, just in that attempt to make something perfect. I very much experienced this with a lot of my earlier bullet journals, where pages would just take me an unnecessarily long amount of time to set up because I was being so anal about it. There's nothing wrong with wanting things to look nice, but when you start being really down on yourself because things aren't exactly the way you had envisioned them in your head, that's where it kind of gets a little bit toxic. If, like me, you enjoy putting pictures and videos of your spreads online as well, that also kind of feeds into that need to be perfect kind of thing. So that is our first point of dislike, the way that the bullet journal feeds my perfectionism in a negative manner. Our second thing that I don't like about bullet journaling is misuse of terminology. As a teacher, this is just something that I don't like in general, but the one in particular, the one piece of bullet journal terminology that really gets me is bujo. So bujo comes from bullet journal. Yeah, the first two letters of both of the words, bujo. So when I see people writing things like bojo or boju or buju or bj, I'm just like, no, that's not the right word. One of those in particular is not correct. Other pieces of terminology getting misused don't really bother me so much, but it's bujo. Bujo. Not the other ones. Our third thing that I don't like about bullet journaling is when people say,
I can't bullet journal because I'm not creative enough.
Or, I can't bullet journal because I don't have the time to. I don't think people realize that the undertone of the message when they say things like that is that people who are bullet journaling are not spending their time wisely. I don't think it's their intention, but that's kind of the impression that I get from that. That time comment in particular kind of comes off a little bit judgmental, as if people who are bullet journaling are spending their time incorrectly or in ways that they shouldn't be. Like, oh, you'd be so much more productive if you weren't decorating your planner. Just let people enjoy things. Oh. Plus, if you're someone like me, I'm not gonna use my to-do list unless I like the way it looks. I am so much less inclined to use any page in my bullet journal if I don't think it is aesthetic, or at least what I consider to be aesthetic. When it comes to the people who say they can't bullet journal because they're not creative, to that I say, have you watched the original bullet journal method video? Like, it's literally messy handwriting in a book. I think you can do that. It's literally just taking the items that you would originally have put on a scrap of paper or on a post-it note or something like that, putting it in a book. So it's all in one place. So you don't lose it. Yeah. I'm a big believer in everybody can bullet journal. It's just that the way that you bullet journal might not look the same as the way other people bullet journal. And that's okay. That brings us to our fourth thing that I don't like about bullet journaling, and that are what I call the bullet journal gatekeepers. The people who say a bullet journal has to be like this, or a bullet journal has to be like that. The people who use sentences like, it's not a bullet journal unless, or it's not a bullet journal if you're not, XYZ, yada yada yada. Again, just let people enjoy things. Let people do things the way they want to do them. It is okay that the original system has evolved as people have integrated it into their own planning routines and added creative bits and added color and all of that kind of stuff. It's all right if it's more than just a list in a book. Similarly, it's also okay if it's just a list in a book. It is okay if the only materials you're using for your bullet journal are a pen and a notebook. That's fine. But if you want to put washi tape in it and you want to add all of those stickers and you want to add all of these doodles and heck, if you want to use watercolor, I ain't gonna stop you. You do you. As long as you are using it for the function that you have outlined for it to fill, awesome. Props to you, huzzah. Can you tell I'm pretty passionate about this one? Rah! I don't think that we get to define what productivity looks like for other people. So if their productivity system looks different to our one, that's okay. Number 5 of the things I don't like about bullet journaling is a very related point, and that is when people treat productivity and creativity as opposite ends of a spectrum. No, they're not. Funnily enough, creativity is not the opposite of productivity. You can be both productive and creative. Similarly, you can also be productive and more minimalist in the way that you approach your bullet journaling. Both of those are fine. Stop fucking around with your hair. Get on with your video. Okay. Number 6 is probably something that like only bothers me, but it bothers me when people say that bullet journaling is a flexible system. I mean, you're starting with a blank notebook, so and I think that's the reason that it bothers me, because it's kind of like saying the sun is sunny because it's the sun. Like, no shit, it's flexible. The pages are blank. You fill them with whatever you want. And I mean, it's probably a little bit hypocritical because I've probably said in at least one of my videos, probably more, that it is a flexible system, because it is. But again, it's stating the obvious, and thus it bothers me. It's like saying that cooking is a flexible system because you can make whatever you want. Unnecessary levels of salt. And the next thing that bothers me about bullet journaling are art thieves. So these are the people who in particular are posting on social media and they've done a recreation of somebody else's work, or they've taken inspiration from somebody else's work and not given credit where credit was due. For clarification, a recreation is like taking one spread and then making a carbon copy, whereas taking inspiration is taking like certain design elements and then incorporating it into your own version of a spread. I think the thing that people don't realize is that it does not lessen the effort or work that they put into their piece when they tell us where they got their inspiration from. And it's not that hard to do. It's just put a little caption in that says, this was inspired by, or this is a recreation of, @handle. That's it. Or if it's a video, it's like a one-sentence thing saying, this spread was inspired by, insert name here. A related thing that kind of bothers me about this one is when people say, oh, inspired by something I found on Pinterest. Why are you giving Pinterest credit for something that somebody else did? Quite often it doesn't take a lot of time to dig just a little bit deeper and find out who actually posted the original work. I say a lot of the time. Sometimes it's a freaking mission, but still. As a bonus one of things I don't like, one of the other things that I really dislike when it comes to bullet journaling is when the dot grid on one page doesn't line up with the dot grid on the other. That is incredibly frustrating, especially when it comes to doing a spread that like you want to rule a line the whole way across and it has to go ha. So those were the things that I don't like, but I would love to hear about what you don't like about bullet journaling. Come have a bitch and a moan with me in the comments. We can all just be salty together. Of course, there are plenty of things we like about bullet journaling. That's not the focus for today though. We're just having a little moment to feel our feelings, and that's all right. Now I'm gonna go scroll through Facebook and find all of the people who are misspelling the word bujo. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye. If you say bojo, you sound like a bozo. That's not friendly, we shouldn't say that.